Ancient Egypt was the great superpower of the ancient world, a refuge for outcasts, a center of civilization, and a nation that lesser kingdoms depended on for protection and survival. Even the patriarch Abraham sought shelter within its borders. But Egypt's glory was not eternal. In the days of the prophet Isaiah, Egypt had fallen into a slow and painful decline, politically fractured, economically failing, and spiritually corrupted. Yet nations still looked to Egypt as their great protector against the rising threat of Assyria. Isaiah saw something deeper. He used Egypt not merely as a geographic reference, but as a prophetic code name, a symbol of the end-time superpower that the world would look to for safety, just as ancient nations once looked to the Nile. That nation, many scholars and students of prophecy argue, is the United States of America. Consider the parallels Isaiah drew. In chapter 19, verses 2 through 4, Egypt is torn apart by civil war. Its citizens turned against one another, its leaders misleading the people, and its population ultimately oppressed by a harsh ruler. Does that not echo the deepening political divisions, the cultural conflicts, and the erosion of trusted leadership we witness in America today? In verses 5 through 10, the great waterways of Egypt dry up, its industries fail. The economy that once sustained a civilization begins to collapse from within. In verses 11 through 15, Egypt's advisors and leaders are described as foolish, giving counsel that leads the nation astray rather than toward wisdom or stability. And yet, despite all of this, other nations continued to trust Egypt. They sent their diplomats, their armies, their hopes. Isaiah chapters 30 and 31 document how nations sought Egypt's vast military as a shield against Assyria, only to find that Egypt's strength was a broken reed. It could not save them. This is precisely the role the United States plays on the world stage today. Nation after nation looks to America for military alliance, economic partnership, and political protection. And yet, as Isaiah warned of ancient Egypt, that trust may ultimately prove misplaced. Isaiah chapter 20, verses 5 and 6, and chapter 30, verses 2 through 5, describe the shame and disappointment of those who put their hope in Egypt, the great superpower that fails at the critical moment. But Isaiah's prophecy does not end in despair. Within the very nation called Egypt, a remnant emerges. In chapter 19, verses 18 through 22, certain covenant people begin to worship Israel's God. They build an altar, they offer sacrifices, and God manifests himself to them, hearing their cry and healing them. God delivers a remnant of his people out of Egypt. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11, and chapter 27, verses 12 and 13 speak of a second Exodus, a gathering of God's people from the ends of the earth, including from Egypt. If the United States is the Egypt of our day, then the call is urgent. For those within her borders who are God's covenant people, to recognize the signs of the times, to remain faithful, and to trust not in the power of the superpower around them, but in the God who has promised to deliver his remnant. Isaiah's ancient words were not merely history. They were a mirror held up to every generation, and perhaps most sharply to ours.